Hey, Kevin Sheerin here. I'm going to talk to you about preparing for a police psychological evaluation. You may be applying for NYPD, Suffolk Police Department, Nassau County Police Department, New York State Trooper, or otherwise. Hopefully I can help you out. Candidates will be very surprised at how rigorous the oral psychological interview may be. It's important to note that the written testing is set up to see if you're answering in a way that makes you seem too virtuous. There are control questions in all the testing instruments that 99% of the population would say no to, but if you say yes to them, it will flag it and your test results may be invalidated as being scaled wrong, that you answered that you're too angelic or virtuous. But for the most part, the written testing can't be studied for, and there are multiple forms of the same question to see if you're being consistent in your answers. In the oral psychological interview, you have to look out for aggressive questioning. When you give an answer about your alcohol intake, and then later in the questioning, the psychologist comes back and asks you again. If you go from 1 beer to 5 beers, obviously there's inconsistency and your credibility will be shot and you will receive a disqualification. What are the best tips for handling a psychological interview? Cooperate by arriving on time and dressing properly. Frequently, I've had people come in and say, I got disqualified by calling the psychologist chief, or hey boss, or hey buddy, or pal, or something of that nature. If you use any of those, there's a good chance you're going to get disqualified. So act respectfully no matter what people say in casual, informal conversation these days. Again, the questioning could be aggressive. Be prepared. They're going to check to see if you can handle a little stress or a rough interview, raised voices, some threats, such as if you don't tell me the truth, I'm going to fail you, etc., and things of that nature. You have to be forthcoming because sometimes your deception or your denial of very minor things could lead you to trouble. So think about that. Is the denial worse than the actual offense? At the end of the interview, very important to note, you'll be asked for authorizations. Sometimes, in rare cases, but it happens, you'll be asked for even pediatrician medical authorizations. You will be asked for school, medical, documents concerning your work history. The psychologist will have your social security printout of every job you worked and paid taxes on, and you'll have to account for each of those jobs, how you left, and so on. One of the things that creates a problem is, in New York State, you don't have to give 2 weeks notice when you leave a job, unless it says in your employment contract you have to give 2 weeks notice. So sometimes that could be set up and you may feel guilty, I didn't give 2 weeks notice, but it may not have been required. So keep that in mind. The first step is you'll take exams with hundreds of questions, the MMPI, the CPI, and other standardized written tests. These are sent away to scoring, and you'll get a sort of a chart or graph, and you will be compared to the normal questions for police officer candidates and answers. So you have to keep that in mind as well. You may be asked, why did you answer such and such a way? And if you know, you can answer. Sometimes in the course of 600 to 800 questions, you may mismark an answer. And if you did that, or you can't recall, you have to say, I cannot recall. In the interview, you'll be asked about your education history, your work history, psychotherapy, any medicines you took, family relations, personal relations, and so on. In the interview, it's not your job to create a comedy scenario. You're not doing stand-up. The other thing is very important is not to create a confrontation, such as, and I've heard over the years, you're the doctor, you should know that. That's going to get you a bad result, obviously. After you're done, you may be placed on review. A supervisor may review the original interviewing doctor's report. They may have multiple supervisors look at your report. The thing you must do is you have to look at your email. Most frequently now, you'll get an email saying you were disqualified. Suffolk County and mainly Suffolk County may send you a letter, but keep that in mind. If you miss the 30-day appeal period, you may be out of luck. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer any of your questions. My phone is 516-248-3494. My email is kevin@sheerinlaw.com. You can visit my website, www.sheerinlaw.com. My blog, I have cases on my blog, civilservice.sheerinlaw.com. And I have Twitter and Instagram. You can find it on my websites. I wish you well in your police psychological interview. Be prepared ahead of time and know the facts about years and dates of your education, years and dates of your jobs. If you had law enforcement contacts such as arrests, moving violations, criminal court summonses, you should get them ahead of time and know what you're talking about when you sit down with the doctor. Like I said, if you get disqualified, I'd be glad to help you. Please give me a call. Thank you.